Robots took my podcast, man.
This is my home, which I am leaving the comforts of for the weekend to explore the Blair Witch. I can see you.
I'm really excited about this. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm very glad.
This area's been haunted by that old woman for years.
I don't know why you have to have every conversation on video.
Because we're making a documentary.
Not about us getting lost. We're making a documentary about a witch.
I know.
We're lost. Admit that first.
No, I know we're not lost.
You're all over the place.
So how do we know it was people?
Well, even if it wasn't, I'm not going to play with that either.
And it's all because of me that we're here now. Hungry and cold and hunted. I just want to apologize to Mike's mom, Josh's mom, and my mom.
Tell me where you are, Josh!
Yeah. The audience doesn't know, but we're actually in the woods doing this podcast looking for the Pod Witch.
I know, we're actually in a tent right now. It's raining outside a little bit, and I just heard some creepy scratching sounds. It's really fucking creepy here, Anthony. I'm really scared, actually. What is outside? Oh my! I heard a kid laughing just now. Oh wait, that was my kid.
Oh, okay. Jordan, I see why you like this podcast so much. It's not quite reality. It's like totally filtered reality, man.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
All right, do you want to get started?
All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to our podcast. The robots took my podcast. I am Jordan.
And I am Anthony. Whoa!
Anthony, I gave you 3 Halloween movies to choose from on the last podcast we did for Jaws 3.
Why? Why did you give me Halloween movies?
Because it is Halloween season right now. Currently, we're in as we record this.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what did we have? We had.
So people, for us, it's Halloween, but maybe you're listening to this in June. Maybe for the duration of this podcast, we'll take you back to Halloween.
Yeah, you might be listening to this in December and thrown off of it, even.
But you gave me 3 different movies, Jordan, to choose from.
That's right. One of them was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. And the other one was The Shining from 1980, and then the Blair Witch.
Never heard of it.
Never. Directed by a guy that never worked again, Stanley Kubrick. And then the other one was the Blair Witch Project from 1999, and I had to make it 3 different decades to give you a little hors d'oeuvre, a little more of a buffet to choose from there. And why did you choose this movie, Anthony? What made you choose Blair Witch Project?
I honestly, to be honest, I think it'd make the best conversation. I'd love to see Chainsaw and The Shining again, but I've probably seen those more also than the Blair Witch Project. So I figured, hey, I don't think I've seen this movie honestly since it came out. I don't know why I'm saying honestly
same here.
So much. I'm not lying to the audience here.
No, same exact here. I hadn't seen this movie. I watched it last night all the way through. I ran it on my projector from a streaming service, and man, I realized the same. I hadn't watched it since I saw it at the Glen Lakes Theater in Dallas, Texas in 1999 at a special preview screening. Wow. Is what I remember. Yeah. The Glen Lakes Theater in Dallas, which is no longer even around.
Not a plug. Well, doesn't matter.
Not even.
So let's take the audience back to the year 1999. And the Blair Witch was, if you were not around back then, or if you were too young to really be in the zeitgeist of the time about movies, like this was a kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm. It was big at Sundance. It first made a big wave at Sundance.
Yeah.
And it caused a big bidding war, the classic bidding war, as they say at Sundance. It was there with another movie that was interesting called American Movie, which was a documentary about a guy making a horror film.
Mark Bouchard, that's right.
Mark Bouchard,
Coven, and I forgot the other dude's name.
And that was around the same time that movie was making waves at Sundance. And this was 1999, man. It was the times were about to change, man. The times were a changing, as Bob Dylan might say. And we were about to go into another millennium here. And all the movies of 1999 were very interesting. And this is also the year that we got to finally get a Star Wars sequel after waiting 16 years after Return of the Jedi. We had the Matrix come out, which was groundbreaking.
Then we immediately regretted it.
Yeah, and then the Matrix comes out and makes Star Wars feel dated.
That was true.
And so does this movie.
Yeah.
But 1999, a lot of buzz in the air. A lot of buzz.
Yeah. And I believe this movie, I don't think this is a controversial statement, but this is probably a pretty influential film, at least in the subsequent years after this, maybe the decade or two after this.
Yeah, I think if this movie did anything, made a dent somehow or made a wave, I think that it definitely created a new genre in the horror movie genre. It created a subgenre in the horror movie genre of the found footage genre, which is still here today. Still making waves today.
Even like the sort of look of this movie, not just the found footage aspect, but just sort of the gritty look of this film, I think went on to influence horror for a while. I don't think necessarily Saw or anything that is directly linked to it, but just the dirty, gritty, handmade look of these films.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. And you also mentioned one of the movies, Chainsaw. In a weird way, I think this has sort of a legacy from Chainsaw.
Chainsaw Massacre? Yeah. I think it borrowed from Chainsaw Massacre's way of advertising.
Yeah.
Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. To this day, some people think Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and even I would meet people in Texas that would think this, that it was actually real, based on a true story. Because when it came out, and this didn't help any, it said, what happened was true.
Yeah,
it happened on the posters. It said it happened. It fucking happened, man. Don't even argue.
And the crawl in the beginning, makes it sound like it's a news report.
The opening intro to the movie itself by actually Mr. John Larroquette, Sir John Larroquette, of all people, recorded. And that intro didn't help either. It literally told you, like, this happened. This is real. These 5 kids went out to this place and got killed by this horrible hillbilly family. And Blair Witch did the same thing. Yeah. I remember arguing with people about Blair Witch when it came out. People were telling me it was real after they saw this side documentary that aired on the Sci-Fi Channel at the time. Yeah. And it was like an In Search of Style documentary more so. And after that, people were like, Jordan, Blair Witch is real. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's not. It was made up. Where do you think it's real? Anyway.
Yeah, I think also the fact that it's like, I wouldn't say first-time filmmakers, but newish filmmakers making a movie based on their budget and the budgetary restraints and that sort of scrappy desire to try something different, new, and what scares them, and really lean into the more psychological aspects of horror. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of the movies that paid homage to this or were influenced by this also lean in on as well. So, 1999, Blair Witch. It's produced by Haxan Films. Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, a couple of dudes from Florida, come up to Maryland to make a found footage horror movie that they'd been kicking around for a while. And, I mean, there's not very many credits because this is one of those written, produced, directed sort of movies. What is the premise of what we're looking at here? Like, what is the whole idea?
It almost, another movie that you are a big fan of, it kind of harkens back to is Boggy Creek.
Oh,
Boggy Creek documentary. It kind of borrows from that too, I think, where they're telling you it's real, that it really happened once again.
Yeah. And Boggy Creek begins with a crawl that says, like, this really happened, or this is based on a true story.
Yeah.
And it's like, you figure it out. And that looks like found footage, but mostly because it's like really low budget and poor. Yeah. I was getting Boggy Creek vibes as well, too.
Mm-hmm. Directed by Charles B. Pierce. But no, this movie, I'm sorry, the premise for this movie, I didn't even answer your question. I'm so sorry.
God damn it, Jordan. Come on. This podcast is falling apart.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to answer your question like somebody in the Supreme Court here.
Jordan, please.
Like somebody on the stand. Yeah.
Jordan, you're evading the question. Please answer the question. Senator, answer the question.
I am not going to dignify that with an answer, Mr. Anthony, sir.
Jordan, you're under oath. Answer the question.
I'm sorry, no. But yeah, like the premise of this movie is basically 3 filmmakers, one led by Miss Heather O'Donoghue. The actress uses her real name as she's not like really this person in the movie. She's just playing herself more or less. But yeah, led by Heather O'Donoghue, they go to
Heather Donahue. Sorry,
Heather Donahue.
There's no O there. You're adding an O. You're trying to make her more Irish sounding than she is.
What the hell's wrong with me? I'm trying to make
Heather O'Donoghue stars in the film.
Oh, the O'Donohues. They were a big family of actors. So yeah, Heather Donahue and her filmmaking team, Michael C. Williams and Patrick Leonard, are the other two guys with her in tow, and it's her basically.
Wait,
leading
hold on.
this
I
whole
thought it was
pack.
Josh Leonard and Mike Williams. Was that? Is that what you said?
Did I get the names wrong? Yeah, Josh Leonard. I'm sorry, Michael C. Williams. I'm
trying to Irish everybody up. Patrick Leonard and Seamus Williams. Like, this is not an Irish movie, Jordan.
All right, yeah. So there's a pot of gold at the end of this documentary. So yeah, she leads them to Burkittsville, Maryland, because of this whole mythic Blair Witch, and it involved this Blair Witch, but also they killed some kids in the process, or like that was what it was. It was some kind of other thing involved, and so they wonder if the place is still haunted, the area is still haunted with ghosts, including the woods where all these kids were taken to die or get killed.
Yeah.
I'm the worst at explaining this plot, but that's more or less.
That's more or less. Yeah, so I think the movie doesn't do a great job of telling you things, but I think it's like Heather's film school project or something, because she's kind of the director of this.
Like her thesis movie.
Yeah. And they're just like a bunch of, I'm going to call them kids throughout this just because it's quicker, but they're like college age.
Kids. I mean, yeah, they're like 20s.
Early
they shot
20s.
this when they were in their 20s, all these guys. So
yeah. So they're old enough to drink, presumably. But so they're going out to make this film, this documentary on the Blair Witch. Yeah. And then things happen. So, most people have probably seen or heard of this.
Things get weird. They stay and they camp out in the woods with all this film equipment. One has a 16 millimeter camera. Mm-hmm. I think it's Josh Leonard is armed with a 16 millimeter, a CP16, mind you. I'm a big camera guy, so I got to point that out. And a Hi8 video camera, which you do not see anymore. But Hi8 was considered the highest quality video you get back then.
Yeah.
Even higher than VHS. I remember I knew at least two people that had one. And even my stepbrother owned one when he was younger and in my family.
That's an RCA Pro 8mm camcorder that they're using, Jordan. Yes.
Oh, maybe it wasn't Hi8. Maybe it was just Pro 8. Okay, my bad.
And it is a cinema product 16A 16mm camera.
But yeah, that was the first time we had small cameras that small video-wise that you could just take with you before we had cell phones and before everybody owned a cell phone, at least. I mean, cell phones were around, but they were expensive back then anyway. And they didn't have cameras like they do now.
If this movie was made today, they would just be sitting around the fire scrolling. There wouldn't be much action.
It would probably be done on a cell phone. Yeah, it'd probably be done with 3 different cell phones probably.
It'd be like one of those movies. Yeah, OMG, WTF, Blair Witch.
And maybe one extra film camera just for the novelty of it, honestly. But you hear Heather say in this movie at one point, a couple times, I want to capture it on the 16. Like, I want to capture it on film. And that was another big thing with filmmakers back then was we got to shoot it on film, at least a good chunk of it, because it won't be legitimate if we don't. And that was a real kind of feeling back then amongst independent filmmakers that I was friends with, because I was trying to be like, just like these guys in Blair Witch back then myself. Anyway.
Yeah. And unlike some filmmakers who film in like film and video because they don't know any better. Mm-hmm. What movie was that where somebody was doing that? Was that that was an American movie. What was
It's interesting. I remember
Tommy Wiseau did that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Tommy Wiseau, filmed in 35 in high def concurrently at the same time.
Concurrently, that's what it was.
Yeah. Because he didn't know. I guess he didn't know which way the medium was going to go, or I don't know. I think for ego's sake, maybe. But yeah, I was going to say the movie Flatliners, the 1990 movie Flatliners, directed by Joel Schumacher, who we talked about on Lost Boys. They did that. They did something almost like this. They showed a guy shooting on home video, but they shot it in Super 8 to show what it looked like through his eyepiece.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was an example of doing dual formats, at least early on. And then, of course, Natural Born Killers kind of did that. The Oliver Stone directed movie Natural Born Killers did that, where formats were all over the place.
Different
So
views.
It wasn't really exactly the first time, but I think it's interesting how they do it from a budgetary standpoint in this movie. They do the lowest of the low, the off-the-shelf market kind of video thing they're using, and a CP 16mm camera at the same time. So you're getting 2 different points of view
And I think that's really expertly used here. No, I mean,
It is. Yeah.
just to fill it out, just to sort of give you, like you said, two perspectives or different perspectives on this. Different people get to hold the camera at different times, and that's sort of an artifice that the filmmakers use.
And it adds a more surreal quality to the movie,
Yeah.
I feel like.
You see things from the video perspective and that sort of like contrasty video sort of look, and then you're in this black and white grainy sort of thing, and it's just it adds to
Yeah, you go from literally pixelated video to film grain.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting is the contrast.
Like just immediately cut, as if it's the same sort of film stock. But, and that adds to the unnerving, unsettling nature of the thing too. It's, it's just intentional or not. I guess that is really sort of one of the hallmarks of the film. So getting to the story. So Heather's trying to make this movie with these two dudes. You get the feeling she doesn't know them very well.
Yeah, they were probably pulled out of an ad in a newspaper that she put in there or something like that back then,
Or
I'm sure.
Knows them from her community college or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or they found it on a community college bulletin board kind of thing.
Yeah. Which is good. They're not friends, so they get to know each other, right? They don't have like prior relationships built here. And so they go to Burkittsville, Maryland. She wants to avoid the cheese. Like she's real deadly serious about this dang thing.
Yeah, she's like, we're making a serious documentary here. This is serious art. I don't want anything funny in this documentary. No jokes, nothing. I don't want even any townspeople interviews where they're making jokes, whatever. Something like that, but yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's because it's like a topic that could easily be made fun of, but she's trying to like really get to the bottom of this, like an investigative journalist kind of thing.
Right. But any filmmaker would take their subject seriously, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normal, right?
And so we hear about this Blair Witch, and there's this book. We don't really see what's in the book at the beginning, but then they talk to some of these locals. In the 40s, like some kids disappeared, and then some men hunting disappeared. And then there was some cabin the witch was supposed to haunt. And then some guy came down out of the hills and said he murdered a bunch of kids, or he said he was done. And the police went up and then found some kids were murdered. And so you have all of this just matter-of-factly coming across in these interviews with the locals, right? They're not really scared. They're like, man, we don't know. This shit happened, And
I have to say, the locals look like local people. They look like non-actors. They look real. They look really real, which really adds to the authenticity of the movie, I feel like, in a good way.
And that's the thing I'm getting so far, authenticity. I'm like, okay, I buy this. Now, you and I have both seen the film, everyone knows, but I guess we'll just sort of like approach this like, okay, let's say we didn't know. Like when I was sitting in the theater, more or less, because I saw this in the theater also.
Same. Do you remember what theater you saw it at?
It was in Austin, I think. Was it?
Oh, interesting.
Did I see the Dobie or?
Oh, the Dobie Theater. I remember that theater in Austin. Yeah, it was like a small theater.
Yeah, the Dobie, or maybe it was in San Antonio. I don't recall, but yeah, over there somewhere.
The Dobie would make sense. Yeah, I could see this playing at the Dobie.
Anyway, we get the gist like, hey, these woods are haunted. Don't go up there, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then one of the locals mentions this lady, Mary Brown. The kids it's kind of amateurish. Like she's not a professional. Like Heather's like, so who is this Mary Brown? And the guy says, she was crazy. And then she says, how was he seen by the community? And he looks at her and says, she was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I was unintentionally funny, but they left it in. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Then they interview this crazy lady. Sorry.
Oh,
this mentally challenged woman, Mary Brown.
She's like the local, I guess, known crazy woman in this small town area.
And so Mary Brown, they interview her at a trailer park, and she said she and her dad were fishing, and she had this eerie feeling, then saw this lady with hairy arms, and she opens her shawl, and her body was all covered in hair. Scary.
Right.
But this is like the local crazy lady, and Heather's like, this lady's crazy.
And of course, you don't really take it seriously at first, even when you're watching this. You're like, well, whatever, she's crazy.
Well, I believe that lady in real life is crazy, because I think in reality, they just interviewed someone who was walking around. But I don't know. I don't know what that person's struggle is, but that looked legit. I was like, this lady's seen some witches. Anyway, so then the witch gang, or the Witchers, or the Witch Kids, I don't know what we're going to call them.
The filmmakers, I guess you
The
could call them.
filmmakers. The filmmakers.
The Blair Witch filmmakers.
Thank you. The very serious young filmmakers
Yeah.
celebrate with a drink.
Oh, yeah, they're in the hotel room, and yeah. Which I love this moment. I kind of love this. I could relate to this part.
Yeah, they're having a good time. They're proud of themselves.
They're toasting with beers, and then, who is it? And Joshua Leonard is the one tugging off of a whiskey bottle, which I love. And he's like, this is preparation for tomorrow. Which, yeah, it's like, yeah, you got to get bloody drunk before you're going to go out in the woods and camp out and during the rain. So, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, they're only expected to go out for like a day. They're going to find this cabin and see the crypt or whatever they call it.
Wait, this was only supposed to be a day for them? Wait, that just makes it worse. I'm sorry. I can't believe this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. That's the whole thing. Is like I think this is supposed to be like a day.
They weren't supposed to end up in a limbo.
Stay overnight, and then I mean that's the whole Gilligan's Island thing we get later on. Yeah, it's just like this wasn't supposed to last this long. So anyway, then they run into some fishermen on the way down there, and they're talking about some girl.
Oh, the next day, after the next day when they get up and they're all hungover and shit, and they're
they're hungover and walk into the woods, and the fishermen are talking about some girl who wandered off in the 1880s, and the other guy is like he saw a white vapor. You know, he says the area is haunted.
That reminded me of like the myth we had back in Dallas, the White Rock Lady of the Lake, you know, ghost and all that.
Oh, yeah, the Lady of the Lake.
The way that fisherman talked about it kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, why this movie is universal, because it hits every urban legend.
And it does touch that nerve, because I think in almost every place there's some sort of local legend. Like in Dallas, there's White Rock Lake, and I've heard so many stories about this growing up, and who knows?
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. Apparently, there's one just like it in Chicago area. Like, there's a Lady of the Lake, too, there.
Yeah.
In that area. So that's why I agree with you on that. It's like local urban legends always seem to stem from the same places or something. It's weird.
Yeah. And around Halloween time when we were a kid, I remember there'd be like a news story or some sort of local station documentary on local legends. And they would always talk about the Lady of the Lake, how people would see this woman as they're driving around White Rock. They'd pick her up and she'd get in the back seat and ask to be taken to some address. And then they'd look back there and there'd be nothing. She'd be gone.
Nothing but a wet spot in the seat.
Puddle of water.
Like one version. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the person at the door of the house would say that she died years ago. And I'll bet you this is probably repeated elsewhere in the country.
Mm-hmm. Or you would hear stories of seeing her face at the bottom of the water at night when you were alone in the dark, or you'd see, just like what the guys talk about in this movie, like you'd see her apparition just standing near the water sometimes too. That was the other part of it, I think. It was just so much eerie.
Scary.
But I guess every like we're talking about, every local area's got its urban legends, you know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it does have that urban legend feel. And I think that's part of the charm. And I think that's part of the lasting thing. There's, you know, when we all like to go investigate an urban legend.
Mm-hmm.
So the fisherman telling that story about the girl who wandered off in the 1880s and saw this old woman floating. You know, her feet weren't touching the ground. So we're getting all these different stories. But hey, guys, these woods are haunted. Okay?
Yeah. Maybe it's not a good idea to go there. Maybe. But nobody tells them to avoid it, more or less, really. None of these locals say, don't go there. Unlike every horror movie normally, where there's some old man warning them, you know, going, I wouldn't go into those woods if I was you. There'd be death there. Like if they had that guy in Blair Witch for no reason, just saying, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Tells you not to go. Like the old man at the beginning of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Or the old man at the beginning of Chainsaw.
Whatever, you know.
And then they found a body disemboweled from the head to toe. Well, anyway, it's right there down the road to the right, past that big tree with the noose hanging in it. And they're like, all right, guys, so let's go. Thank you, mister. I mean, yes.
That's Old Man Withers. He's been here since the beginning of time, and he's seen everything.
I mean, geez. But these kids are undeterred by all this creepiness.
But they don't tell these kids not to go there. It's just locals are talking about the legend. That's all that's going on here. They don't say, what do you kids plan to do after that? None of that, you know.
Yeah.
Which makes it more real, of course, still.
Yeah. Because the locals really don't believe it, sort of. Now, we're talking about the movie. There's a lot of lore online. There's all sorts of other supporting documentaries and things So what the movie tells us is this, that there's just some sort of mysterious shit going on and people have died in the past, okay?
Yeah. There's bad energy in those woods, man.
Yeah, so they get out some old-ass external frame packs. Ouch. Those things sucked.
Oh, the backpacking.
The backpacks. Those things hurt. And
they look painful. Seriously, they do.
They are painful. I remember as a kid, it's like just metal tubes on your back and then a bunch of weight on top of that, and just kind of sucks.
I never went backpacking, oddly.
Wow. Yeah, and all the cans and beer and all the other things.
But no, I guess you know better than I do. Damn, they sound painful.
Yeah, it's just the way it was back then, Jordan. Camping was painful. Hiking was painful with those big ass boots. Anyway.
The hiking boots.
Yeah, so today's a little different. But anyway, so Misty, that car is a sweet ass 1987 Dodge Daytona.
Dodge Daytona. Ooh. What a sporty car.
Check out the new wheels. I just got a Dodge Daytona. Anyway, it looks sporty in a very 80s way.
Misty's only going to care if it's a Trans Am or Z28. I'm sorry. Look, I'll let you know about that. Anyway.
This is a low budget movie, Misty. You get a Dodge Daytona, okay? And we're happy. A 10-year-old Dodge Daytona, and we're happy about it. Anyway. So, Jordan, they're going off into the woods to find Coffin Rock. That was And Heather reads a passage from a book where at this very spot, 5 men were tortured and their hands and feet tied together. One man was disemboweled, or the men were disemboweled, and they had symbols carved into their flesh.
Yes.
And somehow one of them escaped. I'm unclear on that part. And then a search party came back and the men were gone.
What the fuck, man? Whoa.
Jordan, are you scared yet?
I'm scared, man. I'm really scared.
All right.
I'm going to have to sleep at a friend's house tonight, I think. I don't think I can sleep next to my wife. I'm so scared.
I don't know what that means, but...
I don't either.
I don't know if you want your wife hearing that, but okay.
She likes to play pranks on me and scare me for no reason, so that's why I say that. She might fuck with me. That's the kind of marriage I have.
Yeah. So then it starts to rain and they're camping, and then they begin to hear noises overnight.
Yeah.
And the relationship starts to fray. They're having a good time, but they're kind of picking on Mike a little bit. And he's like, leave me alone, guys. You know what I mean? And
they bully Mike.
Yeah, kind of. No. But, you can tell.
No, that's a strong word, actually. They don't bully Mike.
They don't bully bad with him. But they're kind of like having a good time. But some of the dudes are like a little tired of carrying cameras around and walking in the woods, but whatever. And Heather's the one who's really driving this.
Yeah, a CP16 is fucking heavy, man.
Yeah.
It's heavier than a fucking Pro 8mm camera, which is what she's carrying around the whole time. And she's the one with the damn map, Anthony, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little carried away. Like I'm in the movie. Forgive me. It would have been really funny if they had, if we'd seen more marijuana in this movie or drug use in this movie, I think. It would have added to the whole... what if they just got paranoid and they couldn't tell whether the sounds were them stoned, That would have been funny.
You say it should be all in their head?
Yeah.
Didn't they do that in one of the scary movies? I don't know.
Oh, they probably did. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'm just...
Am I
stealing my comedy from a scary movie now? Jesus,
I don't know if you are. It just sounds like...
hell, man.
I'm just saying I feel like I'm in the writer's room for a scary movie. So what if it's Blair Witch, but they're high? But you're right. I mean, that'd be a psychological horror movie on a different level. But instead, the filmmakers don't do that, Jordan.
No, it's worse. They're having to lug around equipment in the rainy woods while they're hungover.
Yeah, and you feel this.
Hungover from a whiskey and beer hangover.
You feel the struggle. You feel it.
Yeah.
But then they find rock piles piled up by their tent the next morning.
Yeah.
So then they begin to get lost.
Yeah. Because only Heather has this hand-drawn map, I guess.
Yeah.
To go through there.
So then they find piles of rocks.
Yeah. And by the way, they didn't have Google Maps back then, by the way. They just had a global tracking device, but they don't even have that, unfortunately, on the trail.
No, kid. They didn't even have Waze. They didn't even have Yahoo Maps back then, kid.
No, kids. They had to rely on map. They didn't even have... She wasn't even using MapQuest.
Yeah,
because they're in the woods, I guess, so...
They didn't even have GPS. They just had crudely drawn maps. They didn't have a real map. They just had something drawn on paper.
I just said MapQuest, man. 2007 just called and they just said, "Hey, we want MapQuest back." What are you talking about?
1999 said, "Damn, that's a dated reference." Anyway, so they start to see strange things: piles of rocks tied to trees.
Yeah, which I think didn't they hint at when she was talking about the legend earlier that was like bad things happen when piles of rocks are outside the house or cabin or whatever, or the tent, whatever.
Yeah, and they weren't there the night before. And Mary Brown mentioned something from the Bible about rocks.
That's what it was. Yes, Mary Brown, the crazy lady from earlier.
They keep finding more piles of rocks. These are some scary piles of rocks, Jordan. Are you scared yet? Are you still scared?
I'm kind of scared. This is the scariest piles of rocks I've ever seen in my whole life, honestly.
I gotta give it to the filmmakers because these are some scary piles of rocks. Okay.
I mean, bricks are nothing when they're piled up. They just look like a ton of bricks, but
But which bricks?
They just look like, I don't want to mess with those bricks. I hope somebody else is going to carry them bricks.
But if a witch piled those bricks, they'd be a little scarier, wouldn't they?
Yeah, if it was like in a pyramid shape, you'd be like, "What the fuck, man?"
In the middle of the woods.
These bricks are like a pyramid shape, man.
I was actually hiking out in Virginia not too long ago.
Oh.
And on top of this ridge, there's all these cairns.
That's Roanoke territory.
Ooh. It was by Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. And there were all these on the top of this hill. There was all these cairns, they call them, these piles of rocks. It was kind of like this. They were much bigger piles, but there was no explanation as to what they were. And somebody had stacked these rocks up there. We didn't know whether they were graves or whatever. And there must have been like 60 of them. We're in the middle of nowhere on this trail, and there's just rocks. And there's no road up there. And you're just like, what the hell is this? So it was a little creepy. So piles of rocks can be a little creepy.
I wonder if it's like a biblical reference. Is that what this is like hinting at?
Maybe.
Something deeper, yeah.
But there is something sort of biblical feeling about this. Supernatural.
Mm-hmm. But it is actually creepy, I will say.
So they're getting lost here, obviously. And so in the middle of the night, they're camping again. And they hear some twigs snapping and some rustling outside their tent at night.
And Heather can't find the map at all. Heather doesn't know what happened to the map. She's apparently lost the map at this point. So everybody's pissed at her.
Yeah. Mike is scared. Josh thinks somebody's fucking with them. And then they get lost some more. And then Mike starts freaking out. And then Josh is pissed because he needs to get this camera back I
think it's a rental cam, probably. That's why.
Yeah. And then he's got to be at work the next day and they can't make it back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's real tension here and the relationships really start to break down. They keep hearing these noises. They keep having to camp another night.
Mm-hmm.
They're running low on supplies. They're out of cigarettes, Jordan. Damn. And,
I used to be a smoker, so I started thinking back to that watching this movie. I started being like, oh, yeah, I remember what that was like. That was not a good thing. If you didn't stock up on cigarettes for something like that, that was not a good thing. Not a good thing.
If you're in your early 20s, you're in the woods and you're running low on cigarettes and all this is happening, I mean, they would just be chain smoking. And then later in the film, speaking of that, Mike is like, "Oh, I found a pack of cigarettes at the bottom of my pack." No, you didn't, bro. You would have.
You were holding out, motherfucker. We know that trick. You were like, "I'm not bumming anybody. I'm not gonna." A cigarette smoker knows that trick, because he didn't want to bum none. Because he knew, like, wait, Mike, you still got some cigarettes? Well, can you bum me one just right now? Now would be a great time. I'd really use a cigarette now, Mike. There's no alcohol in our bags anymore.
I'm freaking out over here, Mike. I really need a ciggy.
Freaking out, Mike. I really need a fucking cigarette, man.
So yeah, that's a nice little con by Mike.
Yeah, he would do really well walking down the drag in Austin. You said Austin earlier. That's where everybody will bum a cigarette off you. Even if they live there, they'll bum a cigarette off you walking down the drag if you have a cigarette out. I'm just saying.
All the drag rats, I remember, way back in the day.
It's Guadalupe Street in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it used to be. Now, I mean, now it's all like high-rise apartments.
I don't know what's down there now, but that was back in the 90s.
Yeah, but I mean, it used to be like everybody was just like hanging out, bumming cigarettes. Like hundreds of people, it felt like. They're just walking down the street and there's just like tons. They're not homeless. They're just your age, but don't have a job, or I don't know.
Some of them are like counterculture-ish, I guess you could say, but and they just, hey man, can I get an extra one of those? You got an extra one of those, man? Be like, I remember lighting a cigarette. My friend who was seasoned there, she said, actually it was Misty.
Was it Misty?
Girlfriend Misty. Yeah, I was with her, and she was the one, because she lives in Austin. We were walking down Guadalupe, and she goes, put that cigarette away. What are you doing? You're going to get bummed off so many people. Put it away right now. But I ignore her and take one out, light it. And then what? Yeah, what happens? Everybody and their dog. Everybody and the dog, literally. The dog next to the guy is like,
When I have a cigarette,
I can get one of those cigarettes from you. Thank you.
And I remember that. And one time I felt bad for this one dude. And I was like, I gave him $1. And then I walked down the street, had coffee or something, was walking back the other way. And the same dude was like, hey, man, can I have some money? And I was like, dude, I just gave you $1 like a little bit ago.
Go give that $1 to somebody with a pack of cigarettes and tell them you'll buy a cigarette for $1 off them.
I don't ask much, but just remember me from 20 minutes earlier or whatever.
Yeah.
I gave you a fucking whole $1. And anyway, Austin stories. It's feeling like slackers now. What are we doing here? Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Blair Witch.
We're talking about relating cigarette smoking, though, to Blair Witch Project, being out of cigarettes.
Back to the Blair Witch, already in progress. So the kids are lost. The kids.
Scooby and the gang are lost in the woods.
So let me ask you this. This is an important question, Jordan.
Yeah.
So all this crazy stuff is happening. It's scary. Tensions are rising. You're in the woods. Like, let's say you're in the woods with these folks, right? But who would you rather be stuck in the woods with? The Blair Witch kids, the filmmakers here, or the Equinox gang? Remember from the movie Equinox we talked about a while back? And guys, listen to that episode. But like, you want to talk about the wrong decisions in the woods in a horror movie.
I would definitely choose the Blair Witch kids, no question, because they're close to what the age I was back then when this movie was made, so I could at least relate to them on that level.
Well, the Equinox guys they're in their early 20s, you know?
Yeah.
And hey, and Jim's got a knife in Equinox, and
that might come in handy.
Dave can read Latin, but the difference of the Equinox kids would be like, oh, hey, look, here's a symbol in blood written on this house. Let's go in and investigate. I mean, it'd be like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, they'd probably ignore the pile of rocks outside. They'd be like, there's a pile of rocks outside. Oh, well.
Oh, well. You know.
That would be the difference between the Equinox kids, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
Hey, there's these weird little, there's this cute little stick art outside here. I don't know what it means, but
oh, well.
Oh, well.
Let's go find that castle. Anyway.
Maybe there was a craft fair here not that long ago.
Yeah. No shit.
That would be the Equinox.
I can admire the handiwork. They could sell this on Etsy.
There's teeth on here even. Human teeth. Isn't that neat? Oh, well.
I think these are molars. Anyway. I mean, just like, geez.
I don't see any Latin written on here, so oh well.
I can't use my skill on the okay. Anyway, the Equinox kids make a cameo in this.
Another movie we talked about on another podcast far, far away in the past.
Okay. So now they're finding these rock piles by their tent. And Josh is at this point is done. He hadn't had a cigarette in a day because old Mike's hoarding them.
Josh, I love his long hair, and he's been lugging that CP 16 millimeter camera around the whole time with a damn 400-foot magazine on there, man. Yeah, of course he's fucking pissed, man. And he's got no cigarettes, man. He's got nothing to drink, man. Nothing. Come on, man. I mean, you're on his side here.
All the batteries,
yeah,
the lights. Heather's a taskmaster over here marching them in the middle of the woods, right?
Yeah, Heather's carrying around the damn Pro 8 camera. Once again, I'm complaining about that. Yeah, she's lugging around that little tiny camera, that weighs like, 1 pound? Yeah. Josh is lugging the CP16 around. That thing weighs a ton.
Then, Jordan, what happens? You mentioned it earlier.
Heather loses the map, yeah. And everybody's mad at Heather for losing this map. And she feels even worse because she's like, I don't know what happened to it. I know I had it on me. I don't know what happened. And they're like, God damn, Heather, you're trying to fucking get us lost here. You fucking, Heather, you're a taskmaster, Heather. They now see her as this like dictatorial a-hole movie director,
Yeah.
No budget movie director. There's nothing worse than a micro-budget movie director who's trying to get the vision, who's got the vision in front of you, but you're pissed off and tired and wet and want to go home, and you've got no cigarettes in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, a micro budget movie director is like on the same level of Werner Herzog. Like they will pull a gun on you. They will make you work 14-hour days.
That's the worst part. It's way more unpredictable than micro budget movie director, especially when they don't have a script. You don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah, exactly. This turns into a Klaus Kinski, Werner Herzog situation where Klaus Kinski's about to kill Werner Herzog and Werner Herzog's about to pull a gun on Klaus Kinski kind of situation. Yes. Well, what you mean? No, you tell me. This is your vision, remember? No, get the gun off of me. What the hell?
My best fiend, my best fiend, a frenemy. They become frenemies, and I love. This is the part of the. I don't know if this is a horror movie at this point, but I can tell you, it's definitely a very interesting film about a very realistic depiction of how relationships in extreme situations break down, and I like that aspect of it. I'm compelled here, not necessarily even as a horror movie.
It's human.
Yeah.
Very human.
It's very real.
Something we can relate to, all of us as the audience. And yeah, it goes back to what Hitchcock said. You should be able to make a movie in a closet with a human because the audience wants to see the human predicament. They want to see the human in a vulnerable or in a messed up situation. Something they can relate to.
Yeah.
Because we struggle daily in life with things, everything.
Damn do we, yeah. But I mean, I can relate to this. I've been out in the woods. I've been wet.
You probably could relate to this better than I could because you've been on every kind of a vacation imaginable at this point in your life.
I don't know. I haven't been witch hunting yet.
That I'm surprised. I'm shocked.
I need to go on a TripAdvisor witch hunt tour. I've never even been on a ghost tour, honestly.
I'm surprised you're not like, Jordan, I can't do the podcast this week. I'm going on vacation to the Agakahara forest in Japan where people have committed suicide. I'm going backpacking there, Jordan. Like you go on crazy places like that. I know you.
Well, I've never been to Maryland, so that's on my bucket list. But anyways, so we find out that actually Mike admits that he threw the map into a creek. It was Mike the whole time. Mike did it.
And yeah, he tossed the map because he did not. He was like, Heather's a crazy bitch. This map don't make any goddamn sense. She's just leading us nowhere. And the map, at least the map was giving them some guidance. But no. I mean, and yeah, now they're in this endless loop where they're just like in this limbo where they keep going back to the same spots over and over again, and they don't even realize where they're going. Yeah. And this is the creepy part too, I feel like. Because you're imagining this in an age of no cell phones. Where people don't all have cell phones and you can't just see what the nearest place by. You can't Google the nearest place.
Yeah. You're not sitting there picking like what's the best restaurant nearby. Like, I don't know about this diner. Let's go to this other like you're sitting there like you have no idea where you are. And Heather keeps saying this is America. You can't get lost in America. And yet they're lost.
They are lost in the woods in America.
And I mean, I wonder how much of this might be the Blair Witch or whatever supernatural forces. I don't think the filmmakers make that part clear. They really make it seem like they're really inept.
I know, and I keep thinking there's got to be a condo that was built nearby at least somewhere in the woods here.
Oh, yeah.
Some vacation home where somebody heard their cry, but no, not at all.
Oh, now there is. Now there's a Costco probably where they were walking.
Yeah, because that's development. See, this movie could work in another country, another more exotic place. Definitely, I said Agakahara Forest because some people will lose their cell phone signal in Agakahara Forest. I might be saying it wrong. I'm sorry, but that would be a believable place for this shit to happen too.
Yeah.
So
not the Burkittsville Costco parking lot
that the Blair Witch now haunts.
Mm-hmm. I feel sorry for the staff at that Costco. They find piles of rocks in the parking lot and it's like, here we go. Got to clean this up again. Look at all the
every day they got to clean up piles of rocks at that Costco outside.
Little wood figures are hanging all over the place in the parking lot and in the store. And it's just like,
yeah, they're screaming when they go to their cars at night after they're leaving, just screaming for no reason, out in the middle of nowhere.
It's like over it. I don't get paid enough for this.
And then they built an Aldi right next to it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And that Aldi's haunted AF. People keep disappearing from the cheese aisle. It's bad.
The meat department shit's like cooking by itself for no reason.
So, and then they start, okay, and then Heather, I love this. Heather demands the compass. Mike has the compass. And she's like, you've betrayed us all. Give me the compass.
Yeah, you betrayed us all.
You betrayed us all. But it fits.
Give me the fucking compass.
This doesn't seem like acting, to their credit. This seems very real. There's very few moments where they sort of break. There is one moment coming up where there's some noises and Mike's like, do you think that's them? So he alludes to maybe the filmmakers, and we'll talk about the making of here in a minute, like you don't know. But
I was about to get right into that, yeah, because I was like, oh, funny you mention that. I do know that. And I knew this back then when it came out, that the filmmakers kind of sat back. They threw them in the woods and kind of sat back nearby and would check on them and make sure they didn't starve or go crazy completely. But yeah, they kind of threw them in this situation with the cameras where like the actors had to know how to operate these cameras even.
Yeah. And that's a big leap of faith, I will say,
yeah,
that you're going to get any good footage out of this from people who are not professional camera people.
Then you better expect it to be shaky coming back from the lab and watching the playback of the Pro 8. You'd have to expect it all to be shaky because it's a bunch of actors shooting stuff and they're inexperienced at using cameras of these types.
And apparently the filmmakers, let's just get into it. The kids are out in the woods. And the directors of the film didn't really interact with them. They just left notes, allegedly. And there's different stories over the years. And the story has, I think, changed a little bit over time. Mm-hmm. You know, I've read different accounts by saying that there was little to no contact. I've read accounts saying that they've left notes in 35 millimeter cans with acting instructions.
I remember reading that same thing. Yeah. And they would, sometimes the notes would be, you know, like the can's labeled for Heather and then she reads it. Josh doesn't trust you. Trust the other guy. Just that kind of shit even too. I heard that they would do.
Yeah. And that's great. I if that's the truth, I love it. It sounds like a party game. Sounds like you know what I mean?
But yeah, they were never there like, okay, wait, cut. Let's do this again. Heather, you go back. There was no like Stanley Kubrick type direction where there was 68 takes or some shit like that. Or, you know, this was literally these people, these actors thrown in the woods with cameras.
Yeah. And I've heard other accounts that said they had walkie-talkies. So I don't know what exactly to believe. Maybe the truth is in the middle. Mm-hmm. But I love the lore of that, of the making of this, like as much as the film.
Either way, they were not there hardly. Clearly, no. That's obvious. And that's obvious from all the stories that the directors were barely there hands-on at all.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was almost like a godlike kind of direction, I should say.
And they left less food over time and were making noises out in the woods and intentionally keeping them awake and giving them all these instructions. And they're out in the woods, just going around in circles, more or less, camping overnight for 8 days or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I really do think that added to that psychological, and plus they're acting and staying in character the whole time, presumably.
It's kind of the same feeling you get with a movie like Apocalypse Now, even, where there's that added realism because of the situation that the director has put the actors into. It's that kind of reality. Mm-hmm. And same with like Chainsaw Massacre, where they were thrown into it. So they're in the same house, or Night of the Living Dead. They're in the same fucking house shooting. This house that's about to be demolished once again or whatever.
Yeah. So Sanchez called it safely torturing the actors.
Yeah.
you know.
That's a nice way to put it. Yeah.
And they were both, the directors were focused on, I think a lot of people say this about Chainsaw or some other things, but the terror off screen, your mind filling in some of the gore, like the meat hook scene in Chainsaw, you don't actually see that. That's just implied more or less.
Yeah.
And this is a horror movie without a monster. The audacity of having a horror movie literally just about the anticipation of seeing a monster or the thing off camera. And apparently there was even supposed to be a scene where later on they're running and they were supposed to pan over and there was supposed to be someone in a witch costume, but they didn't pan. They just kept running. And so they couldn't go back and redo that scene or their whole, the whole guise here of everything that they've done. The whole conceit of all this would be undone. So they kind of were stuck with, the directors were sort of hemmed into, we got to keep doing this to these people. And if we want more or anything else, we've got to stage it the next day, or I think they were kind of making it up to some degrees they were going along, and they really did it without a script other than you're mad.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, you've had enough. Mike, you found some cigarettes. That's your motivation.
Yeah.
Josh really wants to smoke some weed.
Yeah. The most they had was a story outline, which I imagine was just probably a mere shot list.
Exactly.
They were going by that.
I think they had the lore built out.
Yeah. But they clearly had a story overall, and since the documentary feel is it just adds to the whole thing.
But I think that really works, and I'm buying it at this point. What about you? Are you scared, Jordan? Are you as scared?
Yeah, actually, I was getting the adrenaline going again watching this movie. Like you said at the beginning of the podcast, I hadn't seen it since it was out in the theater, so I felt like that all over again. It was literally, I was getting that same vibe from 1999.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I was getting unnerved. I was getting the horror movie adrenaline going.
Oh, yeah.
But I started to think about my younger self and how my younger self thought of this movie and was jealous of this movie. I started getting back to that feeling. But I started appreciating this movie's brilliance more so for what it was, because my ego was like set aside this time watching it.
Yeah. And I mean, I was just sort of impressed by this whole cast of kids, so to speak, folks in their early 20s pulling this off. And I wonder how much of this is lightning in a bottle, really, as often is the case with first-time filmmakers or, you know, I don't know, but their instincts seem to be right. And I think a lot gets caked on over the lore of making this movie over the years. How much did they really intend? What was really happening? Who knew what? How much did the actors know? I don't know, but what's on screen is something that's, to me, very believable.
Yeah. And at the end, that's what matters right there.
Yeah. And then the reality of, like, they unravel because, like, we're out of cigarettes. The struggle is real. You know, it's like... And then Josh is like over it and he's like, what is all this voodoo shit, man? It's kind of like Apocalypse Now. They're going deeper into the darkness.
The heart of darkness.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
And then he's like, this is no redneck. Something's going on here with these rocks and whatever. They think people are messing with them. And Heather just insists on continuing to film. And they're like, put the camera down. She's like, no, I mean, she's just filming. She's like, I might as well get something out of this, right?
Yeah. She's determined.
We'll go back and laugh at this.
She's acting like Carl Denham or some shit in King Kong.
Yeah.
Just like.
And then they camp again, but this time with no fire, because the first night they didn't have a fire, and then all this stuff wasn't happening to them, these noises at night. But then they wake up in the middle of the night and they hear the sounds of little kids out in the darkness.
Outside the tent, right? It's like,
yeah.
Man, yeah. Creepy.
I mean, that's legit creepy.
Yeah.
And then something rattles the tent and they all run out and just leave. And they're standing in the dark. And they're like, turn the lights out. And they're just standing in the dark.
They still have their cameras with them. Even.
Yeah. I mean, they're committed. Their instinct is to always grab their cameras. I mean, good on them. So they come back and find their gear all spread out. And Josh is over this because it's his shit. It's covered in blue goo now. And he's just like, I'm over this. And he grabs the camera from Heather and he's like looking through it. And that's when he says like, hey, I see why you like this camera so much. It's like filtered reality.
You're the subject now, Heather.
Yeah.
You want to be filmed? Yeah, he's kind of taking it on her, like aiming the camera back at her.
Yeah, and she can't really say anything, like he's blaming her. I mean, but it's kind of like she starts to feel some remorse here and some accountability.
It's also what happens on a production when conditions are bad and extreme, where the crew starts to turn on the director and starts to turn the camera onto the director as well.
Yeah.
For proof of the shit. Proof of the pudding.
Josh is like, here's your motivation. You're lost. You're angry in the woods. No one's here to help.
Yeah. But yeah, he's really trying to turn it on to her.
And here's my motivation. I'm the guy from the Spin Doctors.
If you want to camp for hours, go ahead now.
It just kind of looks like that dude. I don't know. Anyway, Heather says to that, like, he's like, why do you like the camera so much? She's like, it's all I have. This is it. I mean, we've got nothing here. You know, he's like, well, you need to write a happy ending to this story, brah. And then Mike actually becomes the peacemaker here because they're kind of ganging up on Heather, and you see these times, and that's sort of the reality of it. I think they pick on Mike, and then they both gang up on Heather, and then Mike's like, leave her alone. And then the next day, Jordan, what happens?
Oh, is this where so Josh disappears?
Ooh.
He's just gone, but his stuff is like left behind and just in shambles and debris or whatever. And yeah, but Josh is just vanished. He's gone and they don't know where he is. And they're like, what the fuck, Josh, where are you? They're calling out for him. And Josh is in a hot tub in a nearby condominium. No.
Josh found the map. He made his escape. No,
he made his way out. No, but Mike and Heather turn to each other for comfort at that point. They're scared even more so because, they've just lost somebody in their company now. So now the ante is upped even more so.
Yeah.
And they camp out overnight, and they think it's really fucking creepy. They think they start hearing Josh being tortured out in the woods out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the fucking night. And that's really scary, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's freaky.
You just kind of hear him go, "Ah!"
And I love it. They keep upping the ante, and I think that's the perfect script sort of choice.
But yeah, you say like the monster, you don't see the monster. It's almost like with Jaws when they cut around the shark kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's amazing what happens when you just don't see the monster and you edit around the monster all the time in a movie like this.
Yeah.
But I think if there's any monster here, if you were to point out that it's just like with The Shining, the hotel is the monster. Here, the woods is the monster.
Yeah.
You know?
And I like how you don't see a witch.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, there's always that shot in a movie where you kind of see something. I like that sometimes, but here you don't even get that.
Yeah.
You don't even get that Slender Man shot of just something walking by a doorway real quick and in the corner of your eye and like, what was that?
It's funny, too, that this movie was released in a time where CG was just like coming into every movie. They were really milking the CG effects as much as they could with the technology. So even back then, this was a different. I think that's why everybody loved the flavor of this movie so much, is because it was such a different flavor from everything else. We had The Mummy come out like a year before, where you saw the mummy get up and walk. And it looked like a damn corpse, and that was cool. But this is, you don't see the mummy, you don't see the monster. You know, once again, like you're saying, the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere.
The Brandon Fraser mummy, that was nothing but CGI.
Yeah. And then you saw scarabs attacking the people, and you actually saw the monsters in that movie.
But I'll hop ahead, not necessarily to our opinion of this movie, but I'll read the Roger Ebert review from the time. I think this is interesting. To that point, he concludes his review by saying, at a time, and he liked the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Gene thought, but I can tell you Gene hated it. Anyway.
This is where I found out about the movie, was from watching Siskel and Ebert, and they were talking about, it was their Sundance episode. That's how I found out about this movie, was because of Siskel and Ebert, actually. Anyway.
Yeah. At a time when digital techniques can show us almost anything, the Blair Witch Project is a reminder that what really scares us is the stuff we can't see. The noise in the dark is almost always scarier than what makes the noise in the dark. Any kid can tell you that, not that he believes it all the time. And so, to your point, I mean, it's relying on absolute psychology. It's not showing you a monster. It's just noises out in the dark. And the fact that they're crafting this effect and this mood with that is pretty impressive. I'm buying it at this point. You know?
Yeah, and there's even points where we don't see shit. I mean, the camera goes just to the side of somebody's waist and we see black. And you just hear what's going on outside the camera. And still, even that, you know, that causes more disorientation, where you're like, what the fuck's going on, man? I can't see nothing. What are they seeing, man? What the fuck are they seeing, man?
Yeah, and then the next morning they find a bundle of sticks tied up, you know, they've been finding all these, I don't know if we mentioned it, but all these sticks tied up and all these like voodoo almost charms and human body shapes sort of tied up with twigs in the woods this whole time, not just rocks.
They look like sort of disjointed dream catchers.
Yeah, exactly. And so they've been finding that this whole time. So it's messing with them. It's messing with the audience.
And it's more of that shit. And then they find Josh's teeth, like, basically.
Yeah. Josh's bloody flannel. It's almost like a serial killer's messing with you. You know, like a bundle of sticks tied up with his flannel. And inside is more flannel, but it's got like some sort of bloody giblets in there, some sort of tissue, and then some teeth.
Which I did have a hard time, I will admit, when I saw this in the theater originally, I did have a hard time making out what was in there because of it being in that really pixelated video quality, being projected so big.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell it was teeth. I could see the bloody flannel part of it. That was enough right there, at least.
And then I love how Heather sees this and freaks out and just goes to wash her hands in the creek, and Mike's like, what's going on? She's like, nothing, just washing my hands. Like, it's so fucked up. She's just keeping it to herself. Like, she doesn't even want
her reaction. I love it too. It's a real reaction. It's literally like washing the blood from your hands kind of thing. Like, that's a psychological, deep primordial reaction.
Yeah, and she just kind of can't get her hands clean. And I think there's a lot of really good choices made by these actors. And whatever is going into making this is kind of working. I'm buying it.
The actors are kind of writing the script for this movie kind of a bit, aren't they? I mean, when you think about it. So they really kind of do deserve credit for what went on here. And it's no wonder that they wanted credit recently again, and they felt like they were kind of shortchanged, which I can get into more later on. But
yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So then the iconic scene that night happens. There's several points where they just reach their breaking point. You know, and Heather just at some point just like reaches her breaking point. She's not even fighting. She's not even arguing. She's just nothing. She's emotionless, vacant. And then that night she's sitting in the tent, and it's the famous sort of scene from this movie. What happens?
Oh, is this you're talking about where she's got the camera like poking up her nostril basically?
Yeah.
And she's saying, I'm sorry to the mothers of Josh. I'm sorry to the mother of Michael. And I'm sorry to my own mother. And it's like confession time. And it's really, and she's crying. And I mean, she needs to wipe her nose even. And it's just, but it adds to it all. It just shows what a mess she is. And yeah, this is the scene that I first saw even on Siskel and Ebert, where they were talking about this movie scared everybody at Sundance. And that was the scene they showed, this iconic moment that would become iconic and become like even the poster on some of the DVDs and videos at some points.
Yeah.
It's her like confession time. I'm sorry, everybody, that I drug everybody into this situation. And of course, she feels guilt here. It's a really great performance by Heather Donahue.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what
it's moving, it's almost could drive you to tears. Even this performance right here, beyond its horror movie aspects here,
and I think it's fantastic.
It's Oscar worthy, honestly.
Hey, it is. We'll get into that because I really don't think the actors get their due. Maybe a little later, but you know, this scene has been parodied so many times, and it's easy to parody it. It's easy to make fun of it, but honestly, in a vacuum, I think
when you watch it though.
It's a great performance. If you're letting the movie do what the movie's doing, this is a very touching scene. And it is real. She's ugly crying. And yeah, she's not wiping her nose. I like it when actors commit on this level. Mm-hmm. I like it when actors aren't sitting there like, okay, where's my good side?
She's like Heather Donahue here is going Marty Sheen Apocalypse Now full on here. She's bleeding in front of us.
She's punching the mirror, so to speak. Yeah.
She's punching the mirror, so to speak. Exactly. I'm just saying on a deeper level. Yeah. I'm talking like she's giving it her all here. I have to give her.
And they've been out in the woods doing all this. Yeah.
Props there. She definitely deserves an Oscar for this moment, you know.
And it's a very real thing. I think a young lady would be like, I'm sorry to people's moms. She's thinking their moms. Because this is like, in her mind at this point, they're just going to find this footage. This is when she kind of knows, like, we're gone. We're dead. Whatever's happening to us, Josh is gone. We're going to be next. They're just going to find this. And this is my last confession. And I think that's powerful. So at night, they hear Josh's voice again.
Yeah.
Then they go to follow it, and they find an old abandoned house.
Yeah, this is
just like the Equinox kids. They enter it.
Yeah. Why'd they keep going that far? Don't go there, girlfriend.
Don't go in there. I say, witch, please. Don't go in that house.
Ain't you learned nothing? It's like that joke Eddie Murphy had on an old stand-up routine where he was talking about how white people always stay in the haunted house even after the ghost says get out. You know, he's like, I'd be out of it. Okay, bye. But I mean, he's got a point there. And these are some white kids just walking into the situation once again, just like the Scooby Gang walking into the wrong situation. Yeah. Creepy as fuck, though, nevertheless.
Yeah, this old abandoned house in the middle of the woods at night, and they're following Josh's voice. And then they start exploring the house, which itself is creepy.
It's like a 2-story abandoned house, basically. Like,
yeah. Just an old house that's like falling apart and probably not safe to be running around in there at night. But anyways, filmmakers.
Yeah, completely abandoned, literally.
And this is one of Eduardo Sanchez's safely torturing the actors moments. Anyway, so yeah, they're exposed to a lot of danger in this movie. So, you know, they could have called a lawyer. But anyway, that's not important. That's not important. What is important is they both have cameras. Mike has a camera. Heather has the film camera. And they go upstairs. They hear Josh's voice upstairs. What do they find upstairs, Jordan, on the walls?
Oh, is it just that was what I was confused about. Like, it's kind of obscure here. It's just more like what we saw in the woods, but just kind of scribbled in blood.
Yeah, it's like symbols and mostly handprints, small children's handprints.
Handprints. Oh, that's right. The small bloody handprints on the walls. Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
And I like how they don't stop and say, "Ooh, bloody handprints!" Like the camera just sweeps and
That's
sees
what I would
this
do.
stuff, and they're just generally scared. They're not like, "Oh, look at this and look at that." They're just like running through looking for Josh. Then they hear Josh's voice coming from the basement, and Jordan. They run into the basement of the house, and what happens?
Is this where like Mike gets killed, basically?
Okay, Mike runs down to the basement, and we see like ka-junk, and the camera hit the floor. His camera hit the ground.
I think he gets there first, kind of thing, because he's ahead of Heather in the run, like on things here.
And she's like screaming after Mike.
Now I'm confused. Is he?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Here's how I interpret this scene. Okay. Number one, I like the fact that Mike's camera, he has the video camera. Okay. So it's picking up the sound, right?
Oh, that's right. Because Heather's got the CP16 after Josh went. She picked up the CP.
Yeah. She just has the film camera. So the audio that we're getting is from his camera the whole time. So you hear her in the background saying, "Mike, wait up. Mike, stop. Mike, where are you going? Mike." Mike runs down the basement, and then ka-junk. The camera hits the ground.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Heather's film camera, black and white coming. She walks into the basement, and she just sees Mike motionless standing in the corner, like the children.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like, that's what it reminded me of. Yeah, he's standing like motionless in the corner, like what they talked about earlier in the movie about like when they were about to be killed, he'd make the other children while they were killing one kid, make the other kid stand in the corner, like with his nose in the corner.
Yeah.
Trying to ignore the screams.
Yeah.
But what the fuck happened there? That always got to me right there. But it's creepy at the same time. Don't get me wrong.
And then ka-junk, and then just her camera hits the ground. And you don't see what hit them. You don't see anything. You just see the camera hit the ground. And I think that's brilliant. And that's the movie, almost to a fault. That's the end. Boom, there it is,
Yeah.
And wow. Okay, what an experience. It was really, I'm glad you suggested this because I wouldn't have probably watched this movie.
Yeah, I know. I hadn't seen it since it came out. Same here.
So, Jordan, what's the effect of the film? Do you think it's scary?
It still is scary, definitely. It's still effectively scary. The ending is effective, even as weird as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, the evil, and like Roger Ebert says in his review, and like I was talking about with less CG effects, it's like the less you see, the more. And this is definitely a psychological horror.
Yeah.
Psychological supernatural horror. Watching it in the dark last night, I felt that same effect. I mean, here is the problem I had when I was younger watching it, though, is I was jealous of this movie. I realize now looking back. So jealous, it was a problem for me enjoying the movie.
Your mind was clouded by jealousy, Jordan.
My mind was literally clouded by jealousy, and I will admit to it now in retrospect. I was a younger man back then. I was just the same age as these people making the movie.
Yeah.
So, and I just was like, man, I could have taken a camera to White Rock Lake over in Dallas and shot this shit.
About the lady in the lake.
Why didn't I? But I did not do that, and I was not the one who did it, and they were the clever ones that did it, and they're the ones that deserve applause, and this is their scene, man, not my scene. This is their happening, man, and it freaks me out.
Well, and now therapy through film. You've gotten over that. You can appreciate another artist's work without being jealous that you didn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, it was therapeutical in a way. I'm not even, it sounds half parody here, but half of me is being real here, honestly, about that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's effectively scary. What do you think?
I think it's a great movie to watch at Halloween.
Definitely.
And I do think it's scary.
Because it's a campfire story movie,
It's fun. It's fun. Now, its legacy, I think in the decade or so after, it was very influential. But then I think for some reason it became very ripe to make fun of this movie, like it was cheesy or something like that.
It even had 2 porn parodies. I mean, hell.
Oh, did it? Oh,
yeah.
I should have watched them. No, I'm kidding. Join us for our new podcast, The Robots Took My Podcast After Hours. We talk about
the movies Jordan used to watch when he was single. Movies Jordan and Anthony watched when they were single.
We talk about adult parodies of movies.
Adult movie parodies, yes. Let's review The Erotic Witch Project next, Anthony. Starring Laurie Walton. Yes, it's sad that I know this, yes.
And The Blair Witch Project.
We're going to review them back to back. How do they work as porn parodies? Yes.
Are they true to the source material, which is the question we always get back to with porn parodies? Anyway, so Jordan, what do you think? Does this film hold up still today? Do you think folks of a certain age in their 20s watching this today would have the same experience?
I think they could appreciate it, although I wonder if young people watch it and be like, why the fuck didn't they just use Google Maps, dude? I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, I hate to remind you, this was made in 1999. Oh, I guess, yeah, okay. But you're telling me there's like not even a house nearby, not even something else nearby, no civilization, this place in Maryland, America. Come on, dude. Come on. I don't believe it. But I don't know. I think younger people still like this movie, actually.
I have no idea. I know this movie has its fans, and I know there's a lot that followed it. I mean, people say maybe Paranormal Activity and some other films like that, Willow Creek, Bobcat Goldthwait's Bigfoot movie, and a ton of different movies right in that era. After this, it kind of borrowed, if not the found footage vibe, the just the feel of this, you know, just the low rent sort of grainy footage, just low budget feel.
Yeah.
It's like garage rock as a horror movie. It's like stripped down.
But it adds to it. We brought up Chainsaw Massacre a lot during this podcast. Same deal with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was shot on 16 millimeter. People forget.
Yeah.
Which was back then mostly used for the news in the 1970s because it was higher quality than some of the video back then that they had. Same deal. Because of that realness that it added to the documentary feel, same with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It looked like a documentary when you watched it kind of at first.
Yeah. Same with the Boggy Creek. And so
film at 11.
What's good about it? I think the found footage element works.
Yeah.
This whole idea could be kind of contrived in a weird way. Like, oh yeah, these kids went out in the woods and they disappeared. I think it works. And like I said, I think the filmmakers took a very huge gamble that they would come back with some usable film.
That's true.
And I know people complained at the time and even maybe today about the shakiness of the image due to people running. It didn't bother me at all. I thought it was fine.
I did hear that a lot back then. People were getting actually sick, partly, even having to walk out of the theater because of it, causing the nausea with some audience members.
Yeah. I like the acting. Honestly, I like the reality of it all. I like the behind the scenes. If you can rate a movie based on the lore of how it was made.
I do too, actually. Yeah.
All the choices of the cinematography and the fact that, hey, this is basically an improvised movie. So I'm going to give the editing a nod, making this into a coherent storyline. And the direction. I'll give the directors for as much as this was their concept and they intended to pull this off the way it is, then they get all the credit for that. What could be improved in my mind? The lore. Now, the witch thing is kind of dumb, but it works. But the lore is inconsistent.
A little more simplified, maybe.
Yeah, like there was a murderer that killed some kids, but then there's a witch, but then
I was confused by that too, actually, the legend.
And guys, I know. There was a website at the time that told you all about this. There was a documentary at the time the filmmakers made.
Yeah, there was a side documentary, Anthony. Here's the facts guy.
Yeah, I know.
No, just
Anthony, if you'd bother.
We won't bring facts guy into it now, not at this running time right now.
But that information's out there, but I'm just talking about the film as an experience, not all the compendium, all the accoutrement, all the other materials out there.
I agree. I haven't actually seen that side documentary that aired on Sci-Fi Channel. That was more in search of in its style.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that. I did see the sequel because a filmmaker friend of mine, Ramsey Abed, actually, I'll name drop him, made a movie with Mark Borchardt and Lloyd Kaufman called The Tunnel once that I worked on. But he told me Blair Witch 2 was really good. He said, you may not think it's really good, but it's really good. And I remember it being pretty good, actually. The sequel was completely different, though.
Book of Shadows?
Yeah, Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, yeah.
Oh, was it good?
And it was completely different. It was way more lucid, actually, of a plot. It was more of A to Z plot in style.
Didn't they use footage from the first movie and things like that? Was that?
I think so, yeah. And it involved a plot with a goth chick and
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it was something like that. But it was
Interesting. Well,
it was still pretty fun. I was actually surprised at how good it was, though. It wasn't actually bad. But I think this did extend it into a franchise, oddly bit, because I think they had a third Blair Witch too.
yeah.
A third Blair Witch as well.
Yeah, I think it was like 2016 they made another Blair Witch. And then, of course, there was a video game series.
Oh, was there? Damn.
Yeah. So there's definitely, I mean, the filmmakers have been milking this for 35 years or 25 years.
Well, you say filmmakers now, and now I do have something to bring to that. Now,
Yeah.
back in 1999, I met John Pearson at a film festival in Dallas. John Pearson, I saw his name on the credits of this movie as well. John Pearson, for those of you who don't know, he shepherded a couple of early Spike Lee movies and a Kevin Smith's movie, Clerks, at Sundance. He was good about getting it to a distributor and getting a bidding war going on. He was one of those kind of producers back then in that kind of scene. And he had been on Blair Witch also. I don't know how much he did in that area, but his name was on the credits, I noticed. But I remember going up to him back then in like 1999 at the end of the year and going, man, I'm jealous of this movie. I wish I had thought of this, and I think I could have done this if I had only thought of this movie first, but I'm kind of jealous. And he said, don't be jealous. Those filmmakers got screwed over by Artisan Pictures, royally fucked by Artisan, because they kind of signed over the rights to the movie, and that was it. And the movie was only made for like 35 to 60 grand, I think, budgetary wise. So it didn't make for a valuable acquisition at Sundance. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. So did audiences get lost and find their way to the box office, Jordan, on a budget, like you said, of $60,000? The movie made domestically $140.5 million. Worldwide, $248 million freaking dollars.
That's right. And then, who got all that money? What did Artisan do with all that money? That's what I wonder.
I mean, Vegas, baby, stuffed their mattress full of money. I mean, remember that scene in Danger Diabolic where he's having sex in the rotating bed with dollars raining down on the bed?
Dollars raining out of it, yeah.
That's what you fucking do with $248 million.
That's what I picture these people doing, honestly. But yeah, for real, though, I mean, here's the deal. Artisan had already apparently made its own bit of money because it was just like a video distribution company, and they bought up all the old live entertainment titles.
Yep.
The Kuroko movies like Terminator 2 or Total Recall or you know, that kind of thing, or The Doors. But yeah, and they this was their first movie acquisition that they made money on. And it's what the hell did they do? And apparently the filmmakers didn't. The actors and the directors didn't see all this money that they saw, that Artisan saw.
No, that's part of the controversy. I don't know what I forgot what they sold it for at Sundance.
I think it got picked up for a small amount of money compared to what they made later on still.
Okay, Artisan bought the distribution rights for $1.1 million. Okay, that's a lot of money. But when you're talking $248 million, Jordan, and you got to split that, you know what I mean, amongst the producer and the directors and whatever. That's a lot of money. That's not a lot of money, especially when the actors themselves originally got paid $1,000 a piece for doing the movie.
Yeah, they got paid outright, but that was about it.
And then they sued Artisan years later in 2004. They settled for $300,000 a piece. And I think they sued again. And that was because in the sequel, they used their likenesses and all the marketing and everything else, which was not a part of the original contract. It was probably just a page,
Yeah. Crispin Glover sued for the same reason on Back to the Future 2. And that's a legitimate lawsuit, in my opinion. If they're using your likeness and not paying you for it, yeah, that's legit. If they're using your photo and not paying you for it, fuck you, yeah.
Yeah.
I want your money.
Yeah.
Give me that money.
And so anyway, going back to one of the things that could be improved, I think one of the, and I will call this a bad, but it's really a good. This was one of the first quote unquote viral marketing movie campaigns, which is interesting in its own right. The buzz, at Sundance, they had missing posters of the actors. They played up the fact that this was really a thing that happened, that these folks they hired went out in the woods and disappeared, and they didn't know where they are, and the actors were told to lay low. not do any interviews or anything. And they went on the website and they made documentaries and news reports and things like that to make this look like it was really a thing. And so I heard this and I was like, God, is this? I remember going to the website and it was like creepy AF. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, I got to see this movie. So it worked on me. But then, like, right before the movie came out, it kind of hit the press that, yeah, no, all that was fake and whatever. So my bubble kind of burst because I really wanted to believe Jordan. I was the little Mulder in me from X-Files was like, I want to believe.
Oh, that was your deal with this movie. That was your like hang up with this movie. Like,
yeah,
my hang up was I wanted to do it first, but your hang up was like, oh man, I wanted it to be real.
Yeah, they let the cat out of the bag. Release it after the movie's out for a while, but I heard about like, oh, it was fake, all that stuff.
They should have kept that going. Yeah, they should have kept that going longer, like the found footage aspect.
As long as possible.
Yeah.
Because you can't recapture that sort of wonder of the fact that something might be true. I mean, I didn't think there was a freaking witch, but I thought there was something, It was
just the same, too, as like when you and I were kids and C-3PO and R2-D2 would show up in a public service announcement. Or they'd show up at an awards show.
Yeah, about cigarette smoking or something.
And you were like, well, C-3PO and R2-D2 are real, dude. I mean, they're both real. There's no getting around it, okay? But that's why they're doing. They got deals in Hollywood. They have agents.
Yeah, exactly. These are real robots.
They're real. 3PO is real. He really does have human cyborg relations. Yes, he's real.
Then you see the making of, and it's like finding out that Santa Claus isn't real. Or like, what? Spoilers for some of our audience.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jordan, interesting for the viral marketing, interesting for the filming, interesting for the fact that I'm glad you recommended this. It was a good experience.
It was interesting for me, too, to go back in the past, actually, and watch this movie again, experience this movie.
It's kind of nostalgia. So speaking of nostalgia, what kind of rating do you give this film?
I give this movie, I'm actually probably going to be kinder than I would have been like when I was younger. Because of its brilliance that this movie still has as like you say, creating a monster you don't see, that's outside the tent constantly, outside the screen, outside the frame of what you're seeing in the movie even. The movie really did that so well, and the actors did this so well. The actors really just like help write this movie. And so I give this 8 out of 10 piles of rocks outside of a tent.
Oh, man.
I don't know if that's a good rating or not.
I think that's good.
I mean it to be good.
I independently, same. I give it 8 out of 10 clunky frame packs. And that includes a huge dollop of nostalgia. And yeah, there's some nostalgia. There's some trip down memory lane. The young me watching this film and really being blown away by it. Even though I was a little disappointed that they let the cat out of the bag with the marketing, I was still like, whoa.
I knew that already going into a preview screening. I think as I'd read a Premiere Magazine article that it was all fake and, all made up. And
yeah, I just wish that they'd kept it going. I don't know how you do that.
Right. I wish that hadn't been spoiled for me too. Like I feel like I always have Santa Claus spoiled for me early on these kind of things,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wish I could have been like everybody else and bought into the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's real. It's based on real. Whoa. Because, yeah, I want my imagination to be fucked with. Yeah.
Or at least the kids were gone. But in a little tweaking, keeping the narrative, keeping that lore consistent a little better, I think really would have tightened the screws. There's only so much you can do with found footage because it's an experimental film, honestly, and it works. I think maybe some people are like, hey, it's cheesy. This film does it better. This film does it better. Fine, whatever. For me, it's great. It's fun. It's a great Halloween movie. And Jordan, for next episode, I want to keep the Halloween flavor going, even if this episode's going to come out in December or whatever.
November.
For whoever's listening again still in June, we're going to give you another bonus Halloween episode. Jordan, watching this movie took me back to the late 90s, the early 2000s. And do you remember how there'd be bins of movies, DVDs, VHS, right? And a lot of movies that were like public domain.
Oh, yeah. When I was a young single man, when I was younger and more single, I was like looking through those bins constantly.
And you'd find the same sort of public domain movies that were be released by numerous little companies.
Yeah.
So, taking you back, Jordan, public domain movies found in the 1990s, 2000s DVD bin. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Carnival of Souls.
Oh.
Classic horror film.
From Made in Kansas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Roger Corman's Bucket of Blood. The sister movie to Little Shop of Horrors. And Spider Baby. Or the maddest story ever told, Jordan.
Oh.
Choose wisely.
Okay, this is tough, but I'm gonna have to go with God, I need to watch Bucket of Blood, but I'm gonna go with I want to talk about Carnival of Souls though.
Oh, okay.
That movie is always fascinated me, actually.
Okay, that'll be fun. Yeah. Carnival of Souls, our next episode. You all can watch it.
That's definitely a public domain title if I think of one ever that I see in every release. That I would see in every release form back then, yeah. All the way back to when I was a teenager buying my first VHS, Night of the Living Dead Good Times release.
I was about to say Night of the Living Dead's another one.
Yeah.
So kids, make sure that your contracts when you're making a movie are solid and your rights are secure.
No shit. Night of the Living Dead is another example of what happens when you don't have all your I's dotted, your T's crossed on a contract or whatever. You don't have everything clear. And yeah, like the movie ends up being like a big giant movie success, and then everybody else makes money and pockets it, but you get nothing. You worked on the movie and you get nothing, sir. Good day.
Okay, so everyone, thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed this special Halloween episode. And if you like this, tell your kids, tell
Anthony,
your wife.
I don't mean to interrupt you. We're out of cigarettes, man.
Oh, man. Sorry.
This whole podcast, we've been out of cigarettes this whole time.
I know. Man, are you serious? I was wondering. Come on, man.
Also, I lost the map. I figured the map wasn't worth shit, but I lost the map, Anthony, through the whole podcast. I'm sorry. I lost the map.
It is true. Our audience is like, you guys need a map. Anyway, tell your kids, tell your wife, tell that creepy voice calling to you from the darkness in the woods that you like this podcast. And check out our other episodes. And whatever platform you're listening to this on, just hit the good buttons, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, rate us 4 or 5 stars, comment, and tell everybody that you love this damn podcast. What's wrong with you people? It's Halloween!
I'm on TikTok, by the way, with our podcast. It's the same. It's The Robots Took My Podcast. Reviewing movie trailers as well.
Okay. And Instagram, Facebook, all the...
We have so many places to like us. And a Facebook.
YouTube.
Oh my God.
Just like us. Look, guys, you know you like us. Just
Come
like
on,
it.
You know you want us in your lives. Come on.
Anyway, happy Halloween, everybody. Jordan, this has been...
The Robots Took My Podcast, man. By the way, Anthony, I want to apologize, Anthony, to everybody on this podcast and everybody's mom on this podcast. I want to apologize to Anthony's mom. I want to apologize to Josh's mom and Heather's mom and Michael's mom. and Edward Sanchez and Daniel Merrick's mom. I want to apologize for this whole podcast that we did on the Blair Witch Project. Anthony, this is a bad idea. I should have never had you choose this movie. Never. I need a tissue.
All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.